My deadbeat father told me I wasn't his daughter anymore. Now he expects to walk me down the aisle, so I told him only family is invited. When I was 6 years old, my parents divorced. My dad cheated on my mom with the woman who would later become my stepmother. After that, I mostly lived with my mom. Holidays and school breaks were spent with my dad. When I was 8, my half-brother Jake was born, and from that moment on, whenever I stayed with my dad, I wasn't really a kid anymore. I was childcare. When I started high school, my mom had to move abroad for work, so I moved in with my dad full-time. That period was, honestly, one of the hardest years of my life. My stepmother wasn't cruel. She tried to include me, but she was submissive to my father. And my dad? He treated me like an extra, like someone who didn't really belong in the house. I was responsible for Jake constantly, but when my dad went out, he only took my stepmother and Jake, never me. One of the most painful moments happened when I was 14. Dad announced we were all going to Disney. I was excited. I thought finally I'd be included. The day before the trip, he told me he wanted it to be a family moment, their first big trip with Jake, so I stayed home alone. That became the pattern. Beach trips, zoos, family outings, always them, never me. He didn't like me going out with friends either, said teenagers together only caused trouble. He'd call the house phone randomly to check if I was home, even had a neighbor watching me. By 16, the feeling of being unwanted was no longer occasional, it was daily. When I turned 18, my dad got a promotion. He announced a family trip to Europe. It was my last year of high school. I thought, maybe this time? Then he said he couldn't afford a trip for 4, so the trip was really for Jake's 10th birthday. I had to stay behind. That's when I snapped. I told him how unfair it was, how abandoned I'd felt for years. He called me ungrateful, spoiled, said I lived there rent-free. The argument escalated, and then he kicked me out. He said I was no longer part of the family, not even his daughter. He threw my things onto the sidewalk. I stayed with a friend that night. When I came back the next day, my things were still outside, some already in the trash. My stepmother quietly saved what she could for me. After that, my dad didn't contact me again, except once, to yell when my mom stopped sending him money. A few months later, I got into an engineering program in another state. That's where I met Mark. We connected instantly, dated, graduated. A few months ago, he proposed. I said yes. I barely use social media, but somehow my dad found out. He messaged me on Instagram, saying he was excited to help with the wedding. He actually thought he'd walk me down the aisle. I told him no. My stepfather would. The wedding would be small, only close family. Then I blocked him. A week later, I received a letter. In it, he apologized. He said after kicking me out, he lived a normal life with my stepmother and Jake, but seeing my graduation photos with my mom and stepfather made him feel regret. He said his pride stopped him from reaching out sooner. Now he wanted to pay for my wedding and fulfill the plan he'd made when I was born. Here's my decision. I will reply. I'll be polite but honest. I'll tell him how it felt to be kicked out, and that my stepfather will walk me down the aisle because that's what I want. I won't accept his money. I won't send him an invitation. If he truly wants reconciliation, it can happen later, after the wedding, and on my terms. This is my wedding with Mark, and for the first time in my life, I get to decide who counts as family.